All right, welcome back, everybody. We still got a little bit of time before we start. Sorry I wasn't here last week. Had some things come up that you can't really plan for. So, Nate, Ryan, you get ready to get work on Wednesday? All right, we'll just give, like I said, give your classmates a minute or two more before we start. We're not in a hurry. You guys excited to come back to school in 2 weeks? Yeah. People are slowly filling in. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start. Going to kind of go through a little bit of what we got going on here. All right, so you'll see that in Google Classroom, we just had a new assignment come up, Arc Welding 1. This is going to be kind of our theme for the week. The very first thing that we do in Welding 2 is we kind of touch on things that we learned in the past, a bit of a refresher to kind of get the juices flowing again. So the very first thing that we actually do in Welding 2 is arc welding. Just expand a little bit, kind of get used to be back there welding a little bit. So some of these assignments you guys may have seen before, especially if you were in class semester 2. If you were in class semester 1 last year, these are going to be relatively new to you. But I just want to use this time as a refresher so that when we come back, we are 100% ready, good to go. So for this week's assignment, well, not this week's, um, for today's assignment, as you can see, I set the due date to September 17th, which is Thursday. We are going to go over 2 units. We're going to go over material joining processes and different welding processes. These both are going to take just a couple of minutes for us to go through in the presentations. So you guys are going to have a lot of time to kind of work and get these done. And then on Thursday, we'll cover a couple more units, maybe even Wednesday. All right, so any questions? These are your 2 homework assignments for due on Thursday. If there are no questions, we can go ahead and we can start. So, material joining processes. Upon completion of this PowerPoint, we shall be able to identify the 3 main categories of material joining processes. We'll be able to define welding, and we'll also be able to understand that skill and knowledge are both important in the welding processes. There are 3 main categories of material joining processes: mechanical fastening, adhesive bonding, and welding. Many products made today by manufacturing and construction companies require some type of joining process to be used in the production of that part. Mechanical fastening. Mechanical fastening joins 2 materials together by using a clamping force. Screws, bolts, nails, and rivets are examples of different types of mechanical fasteners. This method allows for the materials to be disassembled if necessary. Adhesive bonding. Adhesive bonding joins materials together using a non-metallic material. Adhesives are available in several different forms, like gels, liquids, paste, and drops. This process is especially useful when joining dissimilar materials. Welding, a joining process that produces a coalescence of materials by heating them to the welding temperature, with or without the application of pressure, or by the application of pressure alone, and with or without the use of filler metal. And then coalescence is the melting together of filler metal and base metal, or of base metal only. Parts that have been welded together cannot be easily separated, unless it's Tyler and he gives you one of his welds. No response to that, Tyler? Come on, I was calling you out there. Welding is fast and is one of the most economical ways to join metal together permanently. You guys are no fun. Types of welding. There are as many as 94 different types of welding processes. The processes covered in the Intro to Welding section: shielded metal arc welding, SMAW, that's stick welding, that's what we're talking about now. Gas tungsten arc welding, GTAW, that's TIG welding. Gas metal arc welding, GMAW, or MIG welding. We have flux core arc welding, which we do have flux core here. I don't really use it though. And then submerged arc welding, or SAW. Submerged arc welding we don't do here, but we'll talk about. That's a pretty cool process. Welding differs from other joining processes in that the joint created by welding is very strong and permanent. The welding processes covered are some of the most commonly used electric arc welding processes today. So let's talk a little bit about shielding. The puddle of liquid metal created while welding must be protected from air to keep it from oxidizing or becoming brittle. This can be accomplished through the use of flux contained on or inside the electrode, or by the use of an external shielding gas. In some cases, both flux and shielding gas are used. In most cases, simply melting the pieces together will not create a strong enough weld. For this reason, filler metal is typically added to increase the overall strength of the weld. Depending on the welding process being used, the filler metal may also be the electrode or is added separately. So if you guys remember from last year, we talked about we need to protect our weld from our atmosphere. So when we stick weld, that coating that's on the outside of the electrode, when that burns off, that produces its own atmosphere, its own shielding gas, and that dispels the oxygen in our air from getting to the weld. And then the slag that covers it also helps protect the weld as it's cooling. Filler metals. Melting the pieces of metal together will not create a strong enough weld. For this reason, filler metal is typically added to increase the overall strength of the weld. Depending on the welding process being used, the filler metal may also be the electrode or is added separately. Success in welding is achieved by the skill of the person performing the welding process, careful matching of the filler metal chemistry to the base metal. This ensures that the resulting weld will have the required physical properties and chemical properties, and to meet the service requirements of the part being welded. Basically, you need to be skillful, yes, but you could be the best welder in the world, but if you choose the wrong filler metal, then your weld is garbage. It's not going to last. All right. You need to make sure that whatever base metal you're working on, your filler metal is able to be used with it. And then finally, you could be the greatest welder in the world. You can have the right electrode, but if you weld it incorrectly, if you're asked for a 5/16 weld and you give them a 1/4 inch, well, that weld's not going to pass inspection, and therefore will not see the light of day until you fix it. So that's our first one. What we got over here? Thank you, Carl. I appreciate that. You get an A plus 100 for the day. Our second presentation that we're going to talk about today is the different methods of arc welding. So we're going to talk a little bit about manual welding, semi-automatic welding, automatic welding, and robotic welding. Let's see here we go. Manual welding. Welding with a torch, gun, or electrode holder held and manipulated by hand. The welder performs the welding function and maintains the continuous control of the welding operations by hand. Semi-automatic welding. Manual welding with equipment that automatically controls one or more of the welding conditions. The wire feeder controls the filler metal addition, and the arc voltage controls the arc length. Hence, two parts are being controlled automatically. The operator physically manipulates the gun or torch angles and travel speeds while welding. So basically, stick welding is manual welding. TIG welding is manual welding. MIG welding, though, not manual, because you are relying upon a machine to feed you the wire and control the arc. The wire feeder and constant voltage aspect of the power supply make the continuous wire process, such as GMAW and FCAW, semi-automatic. Automatic welding. Welding with equipment that requires only occasional or no observation of welding and no manual adjustment of the equipment controls. So we have fixed automation, utilizes a dedicated machine specifically designed for arc welding the same specific parts. Flexible automation, a variation of fixed automation that allows for some part variation, such as diameter change on a circumferential weld or length adaptation on a longitudinal weld. So if we think about it, a fixed automated welder, all it does is weld 6-inch round pipe 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 6-inch, 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 that's all it does. While a flexible automated machine, it's still welding round pipe, but it can do 6-inch, it can do 7-inch, it can do 8-inch. So you have a little bit of variation, even though they're both welding round pipe. Fixed automation utilizes a dedicated machine specifically designed for arc welding the same specific parts on a continual production basis. An operator loads a part into a fixture, presses a start button, and the part is automatically welded. The operator will unload the welded part, inspect the part, load a new part, and start the process again. The parts to be welded may be rotated under the torch of the welding torch of the and may move across or around the part, usually in just one axis of movement. Parts to be welded are usually of simple design, requiring a single weld. These welding methods are often used in arc spot welding, plug or slot welding, linear welding, or circumferential welding. Flexible automation is simply a variation of fixed automation, but allows for some part variation, such as diameter change or a length adaptation on a longitudinal weld. Robotic welding. Welding that's performed and controlled by robotic equipment. Robotic welding offers the following advantage. It minimizes hazards to the operator, minimizes labor and material waste through greater accuracy and consistency, faster part cycle times, capable in welding in all positions, capable of quickly adapting to welding a variety of production parts as needed and/or part changes. Robots offer quick movement over a work envelope to weld small component parts or large part assemblies. The robot can make the proper size weld accurately and consistently with optimal speed and repeatability. Robots offer the capability of making small production runs that can quickly be retooled for changeovers, or they can quickly be dedicated to making a large volume production run operating 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Robotic welding is programmable and highly flexible to adapt and quickly change the movement of the welding arc to produce high quality welds on complex part designs. So basically, we're going to be doing manual and semi-automatic welding in here with the stick, the TIG, and the MIG. We don't we don't have any robotic stuff or automatic things. That's just we don't need to. We're a high school, you know. Any questions for me as far as what we talked about today? Homework's going to be pretty simple, you guys. Um, it, you know, I'm trying not to overload you too much here because we're going to have another lesson on Thursday. So if you don't have any questions for me, you guys can go ahead and start on those 2 homework assignments. And then we are here until 9:20. Well, we switched to asynchronous time at 9:25. So you guys can stay in the classroom until 9:25. And then once that hits, you guys are free to go. All right. I'm going to be here. I might be moving stuff around behind the camera. So if you need something, just kind of holler at the camera. All right.